Welcome to the Bunk Room and our live group interview. My name is Maria Slaby, National Publisher of the Bunk Room magazine, and I'll be your host this evening for a special interview with Jack Andraka, 15-year-old scientist, inventor, and cancer researcher from Crownsville, Maryland. Jack is the winner of the Intel International Science and Engineering Grand Prize for discovering a rapid way to detect certain cancers with pinpoint accuracy, costing just pennies to produce. With Jack's discovery, those suffering with pancreatic, ovarian, and lung cancers will face greater survival rate due to this early detection method. So we're so excited to have the pleasure and honor of meeting with Jack tonight and learning a little bit more about what makes him tick and what went into this amazing discovery. Jack has so graciously agreed to meet with us via Skype from London. It's already in the middle of the night there, so we're really happy that he showed up, and thanks for watching. Hey, Jack.
Hey,
it's so good to see you. We've been waiting so excitedly for you.
hey, I'm so excited.
So how you doing out there in London?
Great. I just got off the TEDx talk.
Pardon me?
I just got off the TEDx thing.
Oh, wow. You had another
So I was at TEDx House of Parliament.
Oh, excellent. Well, we have a group here of people. I'm going to turn the computer around so you can see our group.
Awesome.
Say hi to Jack.
Hey.
And we have, I guess we can go ahead and start. We have a bunch of questions. We just ran your TED Talk, so they all got refreshed again on
Awesome.
your project, and all excited, I'm sure, bustling with questions. So we're gonna, let's see, we're gonna just go one by one.
Great.
And let me introduce. My name's Maria Slaby, so I've been the one that has been emailing you.
Yeah.
Margot, come over here. This is Margot.
Hi.
This is my daughter Margot.
Hey.
She's the executive editor. And Eric, come on over here. This is my other son, son Ben Eric.
Hey.
No, this is Eric. He's the editor of the magazine.
Awesome.
And just to refresh your memory, the Bunk Room is a magazine written entirely by kids. So, and so we're excited about that. All right. So, Anna, why don't you come up? And did you have a question for Jack?
So you have a list of questions.
Okay, here's a list of questions that a bunch of the kids came up with. There you go. This is Anna.
There we go.
How old are you, Anna?
Hey.
I'm 11 years old, and I'm from Eustis.
Awesome.
Eustis, Florida.
Yeah.
Had you ever been interested in science before your research started for pancreatic cancer?
Well, I actually became interested in science really as a kid. I was 3 years old when I really first had my first science experiment. As a kid, I was really obsessed with like making dams and doing stuff with the water. So that's really how I got interested in science. And then also pretty much my entire family is just like this dynasty of like science. And so like all of my aunts and uncles do it, and my mom and dad do it. And I first became interested in science fair when I was 11 years old. I competed in my very first science fair, just like you are now. And so, I was your same age when I did it. And so it was the best experience ever, and I absolutely loved it. And so I had a blast. Since then, I got really interested in doing scientific research.
Very cool. Very cool.
So do science fair.
Do science fair. Is anybody in here doing science fairs?
Not yet.
Oh. Well, I know a couple of you are doing some science camps this summer, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah, there's big money in science, $25,000 for just making a 2-minute video about your solution to an everyday problem you're having, and you explain the science behind it. So.
Whoa, where's a $25,000 prize?
Yeah, and the title of America's Top Young Scientist.
Oh, that's better than the American Idol. I think. All right, good job. Okay, Emma. Come on up. Come on down.
Hello.
Hi.
This is.
How old are you?
Why don't you
I'm
introduce
14.
yourself?
I'm Anna's older sister.
Emma.
Awesome.
And I wanted to know, like, can you buy your what do you call it?
Your test.
Test yet? Can you buy the test yet?
So that's the complicated things with with innovation in medicine, because one of the problems, but also a really good thing, is that you have to go through this FDA approval, and that's to ensure that your product works and is statistically sound, and then also to guarantee that it's working on the general population. So that takes a long time, about 10 years in the US, and it requires a lot of money. It requires like billions of dollars in investment. However, in the end, it pays off because, I mean, it will save countless lives. And so that's what's really exciting. So currently what's happening is I'm in talks with these large biotech companies trying to get on the market as soon as possible in order to help as many people.
Wow, 10 years. That's a long time.
Yeah. But
if it takes 10 years, do you think there is a possibility that you can make a more efficient one in those 10 years?
Yes, I'm definitely looking at further innovations. However, I'm really sticking with this one and trying to focus on that one to get onto the market, just because I know it works and I really want to have this see its ability to help change humanity.
Definitely. Wow. That's incredible.
You.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey.
And what's your name?
Hi, my name is Andraka. I'm her daughter.
Yeah,
I'm
she's another one of us.
13 years old, and I'm homeschooled. So, how has your life blended with school and friends and the high school and a basic day for high school and your lab?
And are you in high school? Are
Yeah.
you homeschooled, or you go to private fancy school, or blah, blah, blah?
I'm actually 16. I am currently going to North County High School. It's pretty much it's a really rough public school. It's like on the border of Baltimore, and so there's some bad kids there, but there is a 50% dropout rate actually. But I'm really trying to change it around. So there's a STEM program in there, and now I'm getting a lot more people interested in science and STEM, and really I'm hoping to make a change in it. And I'm actually missing finals week right now. I missed all of my finals. I'm in London, so hopefully when I get back, I will be able to make those off. So
do they give you a break so that you can?
Yeah.
Yeah. They do give me a bit of a break, but how I balance my school life, well, I'm not at school very often, maybe 1 to 4 times a month. And so it does make it difficult to really have like the normal high school life. However, I do try to do that just because of the social aspect. And so I still go to movies with my friends and stuff, and that's mainly on the weekends. And then on the weekdays, I'm either in the lab or going to a conference, something like that.
Okay. So that's
Very
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
So
You can still have a social life and do research.
So you're an adult and a kid at once.
Yeah.
So do you actually have to do that? If you're only in class 4 days a week or 4 days a month, do you have to deal with all that homework? And
Yeah. Do you get homework on the weekends or like massive homework?
Actually, I struck a deal with my principal and teacher. So now my grade consists of only tests and quizzes, which is very fortunate. But it's still really hard to make all of it up. In fact, I still have to finish my computer science course now. I did 57 computer programs in like a week. So that was
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it was stressful, but yeah, it's definitely been a rewarding experience.
wow, that's incredible.
Well, thank you.
All right, and who do we have here?
Hi.
Hi, how old are you?
I'm Emma and Anna's little sister, and I'm 8 years old.
What's your name?
Oh my goodness, what grade are you in?
And my name is JoJo.
Your name is JoJo, and what grade are you in? You're homeschooled, so
Yeah.
you could be in 12th grade for
Awesome.
all we know.
I have tons of great homeschooling friends.
Yeah.
What's your question for Jack? Oh, well, do you want to read one of these? How about that one?
Did your family help in this project?
Yeah, well, initially my family was a bit skeptical of the idea. They were a bit suspicious because, I mean, as a 14-year-old saying I could like find a new way to attack cancer, I mean, my mom was just like, Jack, come on. But eventually I convinced them to support me. I got into the lab, and my mom actually drove me to the lab every single day after school. And sometimes I would stay in the lab for 12 hours until like almost 3 o'clock in the morning. So my mom would stay out there for the entire time in the car. And so, here, Mom, come up.
Whoa. Yeah, we need to meet Mom.
Hi,
Hey,
guys.
Mom.
How
So-
are you? Hi, sweetie.
All right,
She
Mom.
was
Wait the lab. Moms are the best.
Jane, have a peek at our crowd.
Oh, my goodness. You have a huge crowd.
There's our
It's
crowd.
my mom.
We're proud of Jack and so happy that you're such a great mom, Jane.
That's great. Well, he deserves it. And I know every kid there has curiosity and can find a talent they can be good at.
Oh yeah, I believe that too. So awesome. So you said your family is pretty involved in science. So you
Yeah.
sit around I saw on Wikipedia that you guys. I think a cute quote from your mom. She said that you don't do much sports, but you jawbone a lot about science with all the magazines all over.
Yeah, our house is a bit of a mess because we only talk about science day and night, but it's a great family bonding experience, I can say. And I just have a blast with them, and they're so supportive of all of my endeavors. Like, my brother will answer questions about science, and then my dad helps me build stuff, and then my mom will drive me all over the place. It's amazing how supportive they are.
That's great. And I'm going to sneak in just a quick question. And you have an older brother that's pretty renowned as well, winning some major prizes.
Yeah. So my brother Luke Andraka, he's 18 now. He's going to Virginia Tech next year. And he actually he was really who got me interested in science fair because, of course, since my older brother was doing it, I, as a little brother, had to follow along, as you might remember. But essentially, he did really well in science fair. Like, he just recently won the $25,000 Siemens We Can Change the World Environmental Prize, as well as MIT Think Award, and he also won $96,000 at the International Science and Engineering Fair 2 years before me.
Wow. So it totally runs in the family. Totally is all in your DNA. Fantastic. Who's next? Javelin. All righty.
Hello. How old are you?
I'm 11. My name is Javelin.
Awesome.
What's your question? I bet you're interested in science and math and all that stuff. Yeah, go ahead and you can ask any. That's a good one.
Were there any reoccurring problems that you were faced with while working?
Yeah, so actually, what happened is, in order to really, because with the sensor, you really have to optimize a lot of these parameters, make them as good as possible. So the first of which is, when my sensor essentially operates using these things called antibodies. And antibody, you can imagine it like a lock and key. It only reacts with one specific protein. But in this case, it was that cancer protein I was looking for in your bloodstream. And the one problem is that there are many different antibodies for a single protein. And so you have to choose the very best one. And that actually is a really long process. So, for example, I had to culture cancer cells and get this protein. And then I had to optimize it through what's called the Western blot technique. And essentially what that is it's this really, really long test where what you do is you want to get these really clear bands that essentially let you, if they're really clear and in the right places, you know that's the correct antibody. And on the first try, it was completely blank, so no bands. And then the next few times, it was completely black, so that didn't work. And then there are a few smudges, and then completely blank again. I went through 80 proteins to find the one that worked. And that was tiresome, but yeah.
Did you ever feel like, oh man, I'm going to ditch this project?
Well, actually, I felt like, for example, maybe this idea doesn't work, especially when 199 professors rejected me. I mean, like, those were experts in the medical field. I was like, they must be knowing what they're talking about. So that was really the only time that I doubted myself. However, once I got accepted in that validation, then I just kept believing.
Excellent. That's great. I just read somewhere today that said over and over, if you're doing something and you don't get a reward at some point, you lose your steam. So you really plowed ahead, even though you had a lot to go through. So that's really amazing, and the world thanks you. The world thanks you.
So you're 11, right? And you're interested in science. So there's this really cool competition that I did when I was in middle school, and it's called the Discovery Young Scientist Challenge, and it's sponsored by the Discovery Channel, like Mythbusters, and then also 3M, which is this really big, innovative company. And in order to win $25,000 and the title of America's Top Young Scientist, you essentially have to make a 2-minute video to a solution you have for an everyday problem that you face. And then you explain the science behind your solution. And if you explain it really well, then you get to go to the finals in 3M and compete for that $25,000. And it's so much fun, and it's a great experience, and you should definitely do it. And then also do science fair. So those are the 2 things I did when I was in middle school a lot. Yeah.
I think that's a great summer project for all you kids. So, all right.
Oh, and check out ScienceDaily.com.
Science Daily. Okay. We'll get that down. All right. Who do we have here?
Mandy.
Hey.
Tell them your name.
Mandy.
Now.
Awesome. How old are you?
11.
Awesome. So are you interested in science and math at all? Or more into the artsy with the writing and creative? To tell you the truth, I'm really bad at writing. So anyone with that is simply amazing to me. So
that's good. Mandy's a singer.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that is incredible.
I
actually used to do musical theater. Yeah.
She plays the ukulele, and she's played with Jamie Grace.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool. Did you know the NIH director, Francis Collins, he actually plays the ukulele as well, so.
Oh, wow.
Great people play the ukulele.
Way to go. What's your question?
I don't have one.
You don't have one? Okay. How about this one?
What do your friends think of you now that you've found success in finding a way to detect pancreatic cancer?
So, actually, my friends, I don't get to see them that often because really I'm never at school anymore. So when I am at school, they're like, oh, there's Jack again, because usually it's in between like me meeting these really amazing people. Like I got to meet the President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. Then also I got to meet President Clinton and just a lot of these really amazing people. And so it's really amazing, and they are really supportive of me the whole way.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So you're meeting, you've been in London for quite a while. You're meeting lots of different people too. I've seen you on Facebook.
I just got back from Parliament because I was doing a TED Talk at Parliament. So that was really, really fun, and it was a great time. So yeah, London's so nice nowadays, but there's such big crowds. Oh my goodness.
Oh, really? Yeah, everyone's visiting there. It's tourist season, I suppose.
Yeah, it's big tourist season.
Cool. Okay. Here's another. Your turn. And who are you? You're bigger than the other ones.
Yeah, I'm Benjamin. I'm 15.
This is my other son.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. So my question is, are you working on anything right now? As something else?
Yeah, I actually am working on this new thing called the Tricorder X Prize, and it's sponsored by the Qualcomm Foundation, and it's for $10 million.
Whoa.
And it's to develop something the size of a smartphone that you can pass over your skin and diagnose any disease instantly. And so I have a team of all high schoolers competing on this, and we're going up to MIT this summer to work on it. So it's very, very exciting, and I'm going to have a great time on it.
Wow. So what was that again? You pass it over your wrist, and you can detect.
Yeah. So like it would be about the size of like this iPhone, and you just scan over, and you can detect anything. So it's going to be super fun.
Wow. Everyone could just be their own doctor.
That's the point of the competition, in order to like really democratize the ability to diagnose.
That's incredible. Did you have any other questions?
Like the that you use to find the pancreatic cancer, how do you make those? Do you make them or what?
Yeah, so I actually make them, and it's about as simple as making chocolate chip cookies. You start with some water, you pour in some nanotubes, add some antibodies, mix it up, you take some paper, dip it, dry it, and then you can detect cancer and potentially any disease.
That's
Wow.
incredible. That's just crazy.
And how much does that cost to actually make?
It costs 3 cents.
And it costs the same to run or what?
So running it, essentially, I designed this. It's like a diabetic test strip when you run. So it would be about the same cost, which is pretty much nothing. It costs about like $1 for a test.
Did you have any more? Do you imagine though when it does come to market, when all the middlemen get involved, that it will cost a lot more? I mean, just how pharmaceuticals work and that sort of the whole business side of it. There's a lot of money changing hands in it, and I don't know. Maybe it's too early to know right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation about the cost of this, but you really never know until it comes out. So we'll see where it comes out. But I'm writing in the legalities of it that it should be less than like a certain standard, so it would be affordable to everyone.
Good. Well, that's great. And you can put your own patent on it and.
Yeah, I actually have the international patent on it.
And I don't know if any of you had this. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in with questions. Did you name it? Is it called the Andraka test or?
I actually still have to come up with like some clever acronym. I mean, the last one was called the ELISA test for enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, and I still have no clue what I'm going to call it. So I have to think of some really witty thing to call it.
Yeah, it's like naming a baby. Okay, who's this?
Hi, I'm Jackson.
Hello.
I'm 10.
Awesome.
My name's Jackson, and I go to Round Lake. I live in Florida. Yeah, you get it. Okay, so how do you focus on what you search for when you want to search for something?
So really you have to become really proficient at using Google and Wikipedia. And so, for example, say I'm looking for proteins that are found in your bloodstream when you have pancreatic cancer. Well, there are certain terms in science that really describe a long set of terms. So, for example, like proteins that are found in your bloodstream, you refer to those as cancer biomarkers. And so then I would look up biomarkers for pancreatic cancer, and then I come up with a certain article. And so it's really about learning the science, like getting a pulse on the scientific terms of these fields. And that's really how you have to search, and you have to get just the right keywords in there to get the correct results.
Yeah, and
it's kind of like an acquired skill. You have to do it just a really lot in order to get it.
Did you have another question? No. All right. That's good. That's a very good question. I suppose that the scientific journals aren't big on SEO.
SEO.
Search engine optimization and all that, or do you think they are? I mean, do you think they load those papers up with keywords and whatnot?
Well, really the one big problem with those papers is that a lot of them are locked behind these big journals, which cost $35 per article, and so that's what makes it really hard to get access.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Tell me your name.
I'm Clayton, and I'm 11, and I live in Mandora.
He was Jackson's brother.
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
Jackson's brother. Could you describe the moment when you found out that your hard work had paid off and you had found a way to detect pancreatic cancer?
Well, actually what happened is it occurred really late at night, like 12 o'clock at midnight. So I was staying really late in the lab, and essentially everyone else was gone. And when I kind of discovered it, the numbers came through. I ran the numbers and it was working, and so I became really, really excited. I kind of just like ran around the lab. Luckily, no one was there or to see my like crazy fit of happiness. So it was kind of like reminiscent of my eye suffering. So
that's funny. So he was all by himself.
Oh.
Did you run out to the car and wake your mom
Yes,
up?
I actually did, and my mom was rather excited too.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's great. Did you have another question you were asking?
No.
Okay. All right. Now I know. Thank you. All right. Introduce yourself. And your
My name is Brian, and I'm
Mhm.
8 years old, and I go to Round Lake and
in Mount
yeah.
Okay. Brian's got a lot of good questions for you. I see he's got a
Awesome.
nice big sheet of paper here.
What does the pancreas do?
So the pancreas is this organ that's kind of like lodged deep within your abdomen, and essentially what it does is it produces hormones in order to control different aspects of your growth and stuff like that, and that also like make you happy or make you sad. And then one other thing that they do is it produces what are called digestive enzymes. They help you digest your food, and they break it down in order for you to get all the nutrients out of it.
Okay. That makes
And
sense,
so
huh?
one important thing it does is, like, for example, it produces insulin. And insulin is the enzyme that breaks down, like, blood sugar. So when you're diabetic, then you're not producing insulin, so it's really hard to control your blood sugar then. And so that's why you have to take insulin shots.
Makes sense. All right.
How long does it take to get the results back from the test?
It actually only takes 5 minutes. You essentially pipette, using this really sensitive thing, you can pipette on a certain amount of the fluid, and then you essentially just use like an ohm meter, something that measures the electrical properties, and within 5 minutes you can say whether or not someone has cancer.
I think you answered that. What about that one?
What do you do for fun or hobbies?
I do a lot of whitewater kayaking, and I'm actually on the National Junior Wildwater team. I also
Wow.
fold origami, and I do math and science, so, and I go to movies sometimes.
So what did you say? You do origami? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so I fold paper.
Very cool. And you're on the national kayak team?
Yeah.
Holy cow. Well, that's incredible.
What's your favorite subject in school?
Favorite subject in school? Actually, it's not science or math. It's actually my AP US government class. Because I love debating. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's a good skill to have. That's definitely.
Do you know where you're going to go for college?
I actually have no clue where I'm going to go to college or what I want to major in. However, I'm heavily leaning towards Stanford at the moment because it has consistent 70-degree temperature and it's really, really nice there. So.
Good idea. I think she answered that one too.
Yeah.
I think you did.
What do you want to do for a career?
I actually have no clue. Maybe I want to become a politician, or maybe I will go into science or academia. I don't know if I'm going to become a research scientist, a doctor, a business person. I have no clue. So.
Well, that's great. You can be all of those too, you know. That's good. All right, good questions. All right, you're bigger than the other ones too.
Okay, so
what's your name?
Eric. I'm 17 and I'm homeschooled.
And that's my other son.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm done. That's all 4 of my kids.
So, well, it's kind of been asked, so I'll read one of these. What advice would you give to kids now that you've come so far at a young age?
Well, really what I want to stress is how I just use the internet to gain all of this knowledge. And so I just had to go through all the information. And so if you find something that you're passionate about, then really just go ahead with it. And when you're passionate about something, it doesn't seem like work. It just seems like fun. And so that's what I see in the laboratory. So really what I want to have is really looking at the internet in entirely different ways and realizing that there's so much more to it than just posting like pictures of food on Instagram. Instead, you could be changing the world. I mean, I didn't even know what a pancreas was when I started this. So like, if I could do it, just imagine what you could do.
Right.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's really inspiring. It is definitely inspiring, and especially when you can just, that you went so far with just these tools that everybody has. And I think you said somewhere along the way how that's going to change the world because so many more people have access to the internet and all these neat things.
Yeah, that's one of the big things is I'm looking at universal internet access as a basic human right, just because it really enables us to empower ourselves and really improve our condition and also express our ideas freely. And that, in my opinion, is going to be the wave of the future, is being able to use internet to spread your own ideas.
Yeah, definitely. Very cool.
Awesome.
Emma has another question. Come on up. We got another question.
Great.
So you told us how your family reacted to you wanting to research all this, but what did your friends think, and how long did it take for them to believe you could actually do it?
Well, my friends didn't actually know I was in the lab until like halfway through it, and then once I told them, they're like, "What? Jack going at Johns Hopkins?" Because I'm in class, sometimes I'm really quiet, so people don't notice me, and since I'm never in school anymore, people notice me less. So, but yeah, they were pretty surprised when they found out I was working at Johns Hopkins.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Very cool. Come on up, Annika.
Okay. Hello. Has anyone done this research for pancreatic cancer, and why do you think they haven't?
Well, that's what's so cool about this idea, is that it's really novel and no one has really looked into it. And that's what's so amazing, is that I was like the first ones in the world to see these results. And the reason why I think this hasn't been discovered by other scientists is because when you're in science, a lot of times you have all this intellectual baggage. You have all these facts that are irrelevant usually, and that really prevents you from seeing these innovative solutions. You're kind of like, it really kills your creativity. You're like pigeonholed into this one mind of thinking. And so that's why I'm really against, is teaching people how to think and not really what to think.
Definitely. That's a good question,
Yeah,
good answer. Definitely.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Jojo, come on up.
So when you started, who was the first member of your family to think it was a good idea to do it?
Actually, none of them thought it was a very good idea. So, but eventually I convinced them all that it was a good idea, because Dr. Maicha had accepted me into his lab. And I suppose the very first one was my mom, because she really believed in it, and hence the reason why she stayed outside the lab for hours on end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great. That was a good question.
Thanks for asking that.
All right. Any other kids have questions, and moms? And did you have a question, sir?
Actually, I do.
Come on up.
Awesome.
Hello, Jack. My name is Travis. I am 25 years old. I have a question for you. I've written down here while we're in this conference. With your in-depth study of the pancreas organ, are you exploring the realm of type 1 diabetes?
Actually, I've been looking at being able to do non-invasive glucose monitoring with because that's one of the main conditions I have to look at when I'm doing this next challenge, the Tricorder X Prize for $10 million. And so really I have been looking into that. However, mostly I am specializing in the cancers, especially pancreatic cancer.
Well, with the external glucose monitor, are you monitoring the blood through a swipe of a device, or can you explain that?
Yeah, so actually you use a laser to look through the skin into the bloodstream and be able to look at the chemical composition. And it's still in development, but it's going to be really exciting when I get the results.
That's very neat. I wish you the best.
Thanks.
Very cool. Very cool. We're good. Okay, go ahead.
How many people yearly are affected by pancreatic cancer?
Well, pancreatic cancer is actually a really rare disease, surprisingly. It only impacts about 40,000 people every year. And that's a really small amount considering, for example, all the people in the US, that's 311 million people, and only 40,000 a year will get pancreatic cancer. But what makes it such a dire disease is the fact that out of those 40,000, very few survive. Like this tiny, tiny amount. The majority pass away after about 3 months of their diagnosis. And so that's why it's so crucial to detect them in the early stages when they have the highest chance of survival. Because currently we're diagnosing them in the late stages when it's spread around the body. And this is when someone has less than a 2% chance of survival. And so what I'm really all about is early detection.
Definitely. Did you have any more on that? Now, you said it also detects ovarian and lung cancers, correct?
Yeah, and both of those are also really hard to diagnose cancers, but they don't have such a kind of helpless case as pancreatic cancer. I mean, pancreatic cancer is absolutely, it's called the silent killer because it expresses no symptoms whatsoever. And so that's why this test was so crucial to develop.
Right. And I imagine because there's not many cases a year, the financial gain for research in that field is probably not as intense.
Yeah, probably not. And then also it's one of the less sexy cancers, really. Like breast cancer, everyone knows about that. Lung cancer, everyone knows about that. Prostate cancer, everyone knows. Everyone knows about these different types of cancers, so they get a lot of NIH funding because the thing about these cancers is that a lot of them have survivors to advocate for it. But pancreatic cancer, pretty much everyone passes away, and so then you don't have survivor advocates. And pancreatic cancer is the only cancer that's in the top 5 killers that has less than $100,000, or less than, I'm getting my numbers mixed up here. I think, it's a very small amount of the budget, and so it's really poorly funded, and that's why so little innovation has happened in pancreatic cancer research.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really amazing that you've done this for that. Because it would have gone a long time before someone did.
Yeah.
Because of that. Jojo, did you have another question? Come on up.
No.
So, how many people have used your cure, and who do you think was your first patient?
So one thing you're going to make sure is that, so that's an excellent question. And so the first thing is I really want to stress that this isn't a cure. It's a way to diagnose the cancer. So you detect it early, and then once you know that you have it, that's when you do the cure. But when you detect it early, that's when you have the highest chance of having the cure work. And so my first patient, I actually don't know who they are, because due to this one law, I'm not allowed to know who they are. And so I will never know who my first patient is. However, I like knowing that I would be able to help change someone's life.
So just to follow up on that, they're actually using it in testing right now?
No, I use it on patient blood samples.
Okay, I see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good question, Jojo. Anybody else have any more questions? Moms? Kate, come on up. Why don't you say your name and what you do?
Hi, Jack.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Kate Johnson. I am actually a publisher of science curriculum, including biology. And you said that you got in trouble in biology class.
Yes.
So my question is, how can publishers like myself that write courses and teachers that teach science encourage more innovative and creative thinking in the classroom, such as you had to do on the sly in your classroom?
Well, one thing that that I see is that currently we are encouraging what's called like this bulimic learning almost. We give kids this knowledge, and then they have to kind of puke the knowledge back up on the test. It's just rote memorization, and really rote memorization isn't going to teach you how to be successful in the real world. No one's going to ask you, like, what is the fifth ventricle vein in the left arterial body? But no, what they're going to ask you about is how to apply that knowledge creatively. So what we should really be able to do is, instead of teaching kids knowledge, have them learn at home. We have them read the textbook and then come in and do their homework and stuff in school and do interactive labs and really have hands-on research for STEM. Because we have to teach them how to think and not what to think.
Perfect.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Very good question. And then the fact that we've got Google and the internet, we can look up and find out those quick little answers that we didn't need to barf out. Mandy, come on up.
Hello.
So my question is, who is your biggest influence in life?
My biggest influence. So I actually have two big influences. The first of which is my family. They are greatest family ever. I love them so, so much, and they support me all the time. And then I have another role model, and that is Mary Curie. And Mary Curie lived in a time where women weren't really allowed in science, but she overcame that hardship and went on to win 2 Nobel Prizes in chemistry and physics. And so just because of her ability and tenacity to overcome challenges, that's what I really admire about her, is that she was still able to innovate.
Very good. That's a good question. Yeah, I can see how you can identify with that because, it wasn't typical for women back then, and for a 15-year-old kid to do what you've done, that's not typical either. So, you're back again. Good.
Have you spoken to any of the people that rejected you in the beginning?
Good question.
Yes, I have. And essentially what happened is there's this big symposium, and what happened is my professor, I got to present it, and my professor directed all the professors that rejected me to my project, and I got to present my data, and I actually beat them all out, and I got 4th place in the competition. So I was very, very happy.
That's awesome. Good. That's a very good question. Okay, Jojo.
How many people rejected you in the first place?
So when I had this idea, I sent out 200 different emails to different scientists at NIH and Johns Hopkins University, and 199 said no. And I only got 1 maybe. So a lot of people said no to this idea, but eventually I got 1 maybe, and that was good enough for me.
That's all you need. That's all you need, right? Good, good. All right. Does anybody else have? Oh, Margot has a question.
Okay, I'm Margot again. I'm 18, and I live here in Mount Dora, Florida. My question is, what did you do in the lab? Like, what would you be doing to test out things and stuff like that?
So what I would first do is Here, Mom, stop fiddling with the lights, okay? Okay. Oh, let me just press random buttons and maybe it will work, but no. Okay, stop touching light. Okay, so essentially what I did in the lab is I first started out by culturing these cancer cells. And they had to spin them really fast to get this one protein out of them. However, my very first time is I realized the capsule I put them in didn't quite fit in the centrifuge, and it blew up and my cells went everywhere, and I had to spend the rest of the day cleaning up, and then I had to start over again. And then what happened is the very next time is I got through that, and I started on this Western blot to optimize my antibody in the sensor. And that took me 3 months, and it was painstakingly hard because you would run it for a day, and then it would not come up, and then, well, there's a day gone. So it was very stressful getting that to work. And then the other thing that I did, after that I had to optimize a few more parameters, like how much nanotubes I would add, how much antibodies I would add, and a lot of stuff like that, and how many dips I would do. And then I had to test. And what I did is I essentially had to find a relationship between how the electrical properties of the sensor change and how much protein would be present in the solution. So I did that by creating what's called a standard curve. I'd create, like, say I put in 1 unit of this protein and it gave out a signal of 5. And then I keep doing that, and eventually I can plot that curve and fit it with an equation. And then from there, I can put a value into that equation, the electrical change, and come up with the protein value and give you a diagnosis of cancer.
Gotcha. So who else was in the lab with you working on things?
So it was actually a group of postdoctoral students, and because that's who's employed in the labs. And so it was a great group, and I'm going to really miss them since they're moving down to MD Anderson. So, yeah, they were great, and everyone supported each other, and that's what I really liked about the lab.
Cool.
But it was really awkward because a lot of the people were like 30 to 35 and had their own children, so I'm just like, oh, hi.
Exactly.
So were they working on their own projects, and you
Yeah, they were on their entirely different own projects.
So did you ever bounce off ideas with them, or did they bounce off
that's
ideas
what
with
happened
you?
in the labs. You just bounce off ideas and give advice to others, and that's what I really like about the collaborative spirit.
Oh, that's cool. That's it's kind of like science Starbucks.
Yeah.
No way. Very cool.
Is there anyone
Any
else?
other questions? Randy, Sue, Jennifer, sir, did you have another question?
Travis?
All right. Well, this has been fantastic. I so appreciate you spending this time, and you must be so tired.
Yeah, but hey, sleep is overrated. Yeah.
I bet for you it is. Oh.
Yeah. Do everyone do this? I'm glad to do it. Yeah.
Well, we're really pleased, and wish you well, and really the world thanks you. And I've been spreading the news all about what you've been doing. We're going to continue on with this and do a feature of what we've just done here, and to extend what we're doing, we're going to we'll create an article based on this interview, which is helping the writing skills of the kids here. So that'll be awesome, and we'll keep spreading the word about what you're doing, and it's absolutely incredible, and you're inspiring us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you, and I'll turn you around, and you guys say goodbye to Jack. Bye.
Yeah.